I've just come back from Hong Kong where, as you know, a lot of the fashion products are made, manufactured, dyed. They have enormous pollution problems. Factories dyeing rivers blue, red, purple as a result of their practices, and insufficient legislation to control it.
We tend to work around natural fibres as opposed to sort of too many nylons or acetates or things like that, which are possibly polluting. You know, where they're processed, they're probably pumping out smoke or something that's not very good for the environment.
If you actually went to a dyes and finishers, normal dyes and finishers anywhere, at any factory, you'd actually see how much of the dye stuffs and chemicals were actually being put back into the water systems, and it's diabolical.
Mambo grew out of the fact that we wanted to sell the truth, and the truth was that the surface today have to sit in polluted water. In our plant in Sydney, we use a recycling method, whereas a lot of our dyes are recycled and reused, which is, one, cost-effective and economical for us, and two, stops a lot of sort of produce just being dumped down into the drains.
I've started off in my office more with all my reels of computer paper being recycled. I haven't quite got to the dye works yet, but we're looking into the whole thing, really.
The bleaching process has been hitting the headlines in relation to nappies and loo paper and a lot of other products at the moment. Next have brought out an eco range of cotton clothes, and I think they've based that largely on the fact that the clothes are undyed and unbleached, and that's certainly a step, although they tend to use a substantial amount of pesticides in the growing of cotton, and as yet there's no easy way to find out if the cotton that you're buying is grown in this way.
Everything about green cotton is environmentally sound. If you actually colour the garment in any way or finish the garment in any way, you don't use harmful chemicals whatsoever.
Nobody's really taken the fore in this. I think Catherine Hamnett is often produced as an example. From what I've seen currently, she's very good at producing extremely pertinent slogans in very large letters on T-shirts.
I think there will be a lot of cashing in, as there always is on anything in every industry.
The motive of profit is actually quite important for encouraging companies to go green, because one of the things that we're trying to do is actually give companies an incentive to improve environmentally, and of course one of those incentives is profit.
Everybody's in this business to make money, obviously. At the end of the day, that's what we're here for.
Each garment that is sold with a Stop Ocean Pollution design on it, there is a royalty that goes to the Stop Ocean Pollution campaign, and at the moment it's $1, an Australian dollar a T-shirt.
The range that we have produced for spring-summer, which is 5 T-shirts, actually, unfortunately, no money has been able to be put towards any concern.
The manufacturing procedures are going to change, but that won't be across the board, so it means that the choice is going to be there, and it's up to consumers to make the choice in favour of the environment.
All I'm trying to do is do my little bit, as any single human being or small company can do.
And any real successful lobby will come from the street. It won't actually come from the industry. The industry will start it and will be the vehicle.
Green cotton is a registered trademark, and it is made in one factory only.
Where's that?
I'm not going to let everybody else bring out green T-shirts.
But just in case you get the impression that charity shops are just for sort of weird and wonderful clothes, we're joined now by a crusader on their behalf, Julia Hales. Good morning, Julia.
Good morning.
Now, you'd like to see us buying more second-hand clothes. Do you think we should all be buying more second-hand stuff?
It's certainly a good idea to scour the second-hand shops, because there are a lot of things in there that you can find that simply aren't available elsewhere.
Yeah.
And it's a very good option, because it does mean that they're being used very efficiently.
Yeah.
And when people get sick of their clothes, which is often long before they're actually worn out, they can give them to the second-hand shops.
Yeah.
And people have that extra choice. And
Right.
of course, a lot of things come back into fashion again.
You're wearing something that's been recycled in, well, reused in an unusual way. Your skirt, I think that's terrific.
Yeah, I often wear peculiar things in
What did it
in a funny way.
start life off
Well,
as?
this is, I still use it as a scarf, but also I put it on tables sometimes as a tablecloth.
Would you say that it's the fashion industry that are encouraging us to be so flippant with throwing clothes away?
There's no doubt the fashion industry are obviously very keen on people buying the latest fashion, and they're coming up with new designs all the time. But I actually think that one of the worst things about the fashion industry nowadays is that they're not producing clothes that really are durable, that are real classics, that last a very long time. If you talk to a lot of the older generation, you'll find that people bought shoes and expected them to last their lifetime.
Yes,
and that simply doesn't happen. I mean, I buy shoes and they last a season, and that is sort of lack of durability that we've come to expect through most of the things we buy, not just fashion items.
And also, the way you care for your clothes and wash them and all that sort of, that's got a very great bearing on the type of clothes you buy, doesn't it?
Well, it certainly does. I think one of the points that was raised actually in your film before this was that you shouldn't really be buying clothes that go straight only to the dry cleaner.
Yes.
And that's actually quite an important point, because I don't think that many people know the fact that dry cleaning fluids are often very destructive in terms of they destroy the ozone layer, and if they don't, they're very toxic. So in the end, it's really much better not to use clothes that need to be dry cleaned.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, actually. They never feel as nice as washed either.
It's also an awful bore taking them to the dry cleaner.
And expensive as well. Now, the clothes side of things seems to be the latest green issue, doesn't it? This is made of 75% recycled stuff. Where else can we find that sort of thing?
Well, these particular clothes are made from woolly jumpers that they sort out. I think you've seen that on your programme, and they make it into the tweed. But in fact, a lot of the clothes that you may send to Oxfam or the Salvation Army don't only go to be made into clothes. And I think it's important to recognise that even if it's really bad quality and it is falling to pieces, they still want them, because they make them into cloths that you can use in, and there's a whole factory that makes them into cloths for industrial use. And also things like furniture stuffing and felt for the roof and things like that, which is also very important.
Well, this blanket over here, this one is 100% recycled wool, and there's no added colourings in that either, so that's quite a nice one as well.
Well, I think that sounds rather good, because a lot of people might not want to wear tweed, but that blanket is
no, well, I'm not a tweedy type
looking.
myself, I must say, but that's quite nice. What would you like people to do to help the cause, as it were?
Well, I think that people, obviously what we're trying to get people to do is be more aware about everything they buy and how it affects the environment and the changes they can make. And fashion is an area where people haven't really been concentrating. There are, if you are buying new fashions, there's also the fact that you should be looking into the different materials that you are buying and thinking about the environmental consequences, and trying to encourage manufacturers to be using less polluting processes. At the moment, it really is a problem in terms of the processes they use, and there really isn't a lot of pressure on them to change.
Yeah. Well, I know that my very best friend, she is cracker. She gives me all her old clothes, and when I get fed up with them, I give her mine. And there's quite a few women in our area, and we do that. It really is, because one man's meat is another man's ball gown.
Right.
I'm talking about ball gowns.
Are you ready for this, ladies?
Look at that.
Bond, James Bond.
But isn't this super? Because this was 1999, genuinely, in a charity shop. And when you're buying that sort of thing, if you go out, one of these, they're over £100, so I think that's terrific.
I know, it is actually...
very, very good.
Yeah.
Well, thanks very much indeed, Julie, for having a chat with us this morning.
And we'll go out for dinner now, I think. Anyway,